Hello, hi Suman.
Hello. Hey, hi Rajiv. How are you?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Okay, so we can start, right? You ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So could you please tell me about yourself, about your experience, and what are all technologies currently you are working?
Right now I'm working with Google. I've been with Google for almost more than a year now. So I've been working with the Google Fiber project.
Mm.
So it basically within the fiber network, fiber internet, where we get all the information regarding to the fiber cables within our Google. So we have specific locations like within the East Coast we had six locations, and in the central we had three locations. So basically our task is like whenever there is a fiber cable cut, so we get all the information through our backend services. So we get the precise location. So when you this app is not the customer facing app. So this is for the technicians who work at the Google Fiber. So whenever they open the
Mm.
application, they can see if there are if based on the location, they will get to know all the huts which connects the home's internet to one of the hut. So it gives the enter
Mm.
information, the location IDs. So once if there is any cut, they will be notified in the app. Once they click on that specific home where there is a power cut or any cable cut. So once they click on it, basically it opens up. It gives a precise location where exactly is the cut. So the technician can navigate using the Google Map to that specific location. If there is a power cut, we display the informations as status indicators. If there is a power cut or a fiber cable cut, so this kind of information is available in our app. So the technician will be analyze what was the issue.
So, but who will provide this information in the app that power cut is there?
So we get the information from our backend teams. There are four backend teams who works on a parallelly. So they will get all the
Mm.
information because we call the live data to that services. So they will get all the information back to us, and then we display in the app.
Okay, so this is so you are. What is your responsibilities? What is your role and responsibility in this?
So my roles are like to display the what are the information coming from the backend services to display in the app, and then once you click on like
Mm.
the status indicators and the circuit IDs, the whatever the information for that router, and for the fiber cables cut, we have the access points, the huts. So we have all the different route for the cables. So we display all with within the we have a map fragment where we display the routes to the hut from that specific location, and
Okay.
to navigate to that specific location we have location, the latitude and longitude to get from the exact home where the power cable was, like the fiber cable cut was there, and then we get to the location details. And then once the technician clicks on navigate, right, so when then we navigate the user to the Google Maps, and then he can navigate
Mhm.
from his current location to that specific location.
Okay, so what technology you are using in this? What are all technologies?
We are using Kotlin and
Hmm.
coroutines,
Okay,
and we are using for the backend calls. We are using the retrofit.
so this will be used for both iOS and Android, or only for
No, this is only
Android?
for Android. Like
This is only
this
for.
application is only specifically designed for Android. We don't have like the iOS application for this one for the technicians. For the technician, we provide Google provides devices for them, Android devices
Hmm.
for the technician, so they will be using that. So this application is entirely only can be only logged in with the Google at the rate google.com ID. It is not accessible by any other with the regular Gmail account, right? So where you download the app, right? So you can still download
Okay.
the app. You don't
Hmm.
have the access to use the application.
Okay. So this is already in the production, correct? Already in the live in the
Yeah,
Google
yeah,
Store, right? This one.
yeah.
So now so what kind of after go live, what kind of work you are getting after that?
So we get like all the things like to get the exact precise location, and we write the. As of now, we were doing some enhancements to the project. So there is no actually the full-time development. Like it's kind of a maintenance project, and we do some modifications, some enhancements in the UI to get clear information for the technician to see what's the issue.
So this is only for like this app will be used by the technician, correct?
Technicians, yeah.
And they will see the so who will assign that which technician will work on that particular issue. That is also there. Some admin screen and that will be basically
No, no. Basically, whoever comes like for the Google Fiber, right? So we get we have a directory, the Google directory, email directly. So
Hmm.
we get the access from that, and then to specific users which are under that domain, we only give the access to them.
Okay. No, no. This is like multiple location is there. Okay. So this
Yeah,
issue
multiple
is there.
locations. Yeah,
So who
whoever opens
will,
the lab.
how this app will decide? Okay, this which technician will be basically. So technician himself will assign that issue, or somebody will assign. Okay, this will be in this location. This technician will basically will look into
Yeah.
this issue. Like,
So regarding the technicians, right? So this is all Google external things. So for them, they will assign say separate teams, like separate locations. It's not within. We don't control that. It's a Google high level thing, the technician thing. So basically, if you have
hmm.
the like in India, we have the fiber networks, right? So
Hmm.
where
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
technicians locally they assign the company assigns technicians to this area, that area. So we don't worry about that one.
Okay, okay.
We
No,
don't
that
assign,
just
yeah, we don't
want to
assign
get
any technician.
understanding the business actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is
So
okay, yeah. So this
yeah.
is okay. So in this project, basically, is so this is on the cloud or
So
this is on the cloud, correct?
yeah,
This app.
yeah,
Okay. So this Kotlin you said you are using. Okay.
yeah.
So what is the difference between the React Native and the Kotlin? React Native is also used for Android. Okay.
Yeah, but I never used the React Native till now because like I've been using the Java before 2020 or 2021, and then we slowly
Hmm.
when I was working with Citibank, so I've been there for almost 5 years. So we started the entire development using Java, and then we slowly started migrating our code to Kotlin.
Okay.
So
No, no. No, that is fine. But do you know that what is the advantage of Kotlin when we are using like multiple technologies is there in the Android?
yeah,
So
so
what do you think is what is the advantage that we are getting when we are using the Kotlin?
I can compare between Java and Kotlin, but I'm not familiar with the React Native as you asked. So I can compare the difference between the Java and the Kotlin because, like in Java, there is no null safety operations. So for
Hmm.
every variable you're accessing, you need to have a null checks
Hmm.
predefined in the code. So when it comes to Kotlin, you have the defined
Hmm.
default null safety operations, and it
Okay.
gives like you have the data binding, view binding. These are all the additional things where it minimizes the number of lines of the code, and then the efficiency of the application is more.
Hmm. So
the,
you
the
mean to say this Java we can also use in the Android development, correct?
which one? Yeah, we can
Java.
still use the Java. Yeah, we can still use the Java, and you can use the both Kotlin and Java, whatever you wanted to, whichever you want to.
Hmm.
Because like many of the companies now, as like Kotlin reduces the size of the application and increases the fastness of the application. So
Hmm.
in my company, we entirely write the code in Kotlin. In my previous company, I used to write code in Java and Kotlin.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So how you will make sure that like so do you know what are the all mobile platform if developed?
Mobile platform. Basically, whatever the things I have been doing from past 7 years, like I've been using the Android Studio itself. So I
Okay.
heard there is a Flutter where is a cross-platform where it designs the code for iOS and Android. Because like
Hmm.
there's one code base where you can have the application as an Android version and iOS version. The
Acha,
Flutter is,
okay.
yeah. So basically within the Android Studio, it is only designed for developing the Android applications.
So you mean
Yeah.
to say the same code will be used for Android and iOS, correct? If we are using
In
Flutter.
in Flutter, yeah. In Flutter, basically, it's not entirely written in Kotlin or Java. It's a common language uh, which can be uh, which can be accessed by iOS platform and the Android platform. Basically, within the React, some other coding standards. I think it's with the React code. It
Okay.
gives option to build the iOS and Android apps.
Okay. So this is okay. So do you know what's the difference between like native, hybrid, and cross-platform mobile development?
Yeah. So cross platform, as I mentioned, the Flutter Win gives you ability to design iOS and Android app using the same code. But when it comes to the
Mhm.
native application, like whatever we do for the Android development, like within the Android Studio, you develop the entire code in Kotlin. Like it's specifically designed for Android. It's a native app.
Okay.
Yeah. The cross platform and the
This,
hybrid is sorry.
yeah. So what do you mean by hybrid here?
So the hybrid application, it's the same whatever we have the Flutter, right? So Flutter
Mm.
gives you the same code. It's a hybrid application where you have the same piece of code using for iOS
Mm.
development and Android development. So in that case,
Mm.
one single development team can be used for both the platforms.
Okay. So this no React Native is also used for both, correct? In the iOS and the
Yeah,
uh, Android.
yeah.
Okay. So in the okay. So in this, how do you are handling the screen size? Because this in the mobile app.
Yeah, so in the mobile app, the screen size is like we define all the layouts using the constraint layout.
Hmm.
So the constraint layout takes it modifies the layout according to the screen size. We don't predefine separate width or height. So we
Hmm.
design within the constraint layout, and then we assign the elements. We assign the constraint the elements to that main constraint layout. So one after the other, like we give the top off, right off, left off. So basically, it aligns based on the layout of the screen size. We don't specifically give like the right padding or left padding or kind of things.
Okay. And how you are doing the testing on this
So
Android?
we use Espresso automation for
Hmm?
whatever we develop in the Android Studio. We use the Espresso
Espresso. This
framework.
is the simulator or something?
No, Espresso is like test. You're asking about the automation or the regular testing.
Yeah, yeah, regular testing. So
No,
suppose
so
whatever
app
you
testing,
develop.
yeah, we run it on our application, the Google Fiber application. We don't support it on the emulator. We have an
Hmm.
emulator defined in our Android, but we do it on the device because like you need to sign in with the Google at the rate google.com ID. So we don't allow it on
Hmm.
the emulators. So we do it on the actual devices. We connect our devices to the laptop and then turn on the developer options and the USB debugging option. Then it display like we can access the device from our Android Studio and then run the application to directly run the application to the phone.
Okay, so how many team members is working in your team?
We are three people working in the team. It's a very small
So
team.
how, okay, so how you are coordinating with the backend team? So you are using the API, whatever developed by
Yeah,
the backend team, correct?
yeah, yeah,
You are
yeah.
calling those APIs. So how you are making sure
So,
that and connecting to those backend team and taking the
so
information?
yeah, so we have regular. We know who are the people works for the backend. So if there is any issue, we always test the app, right? So if there is any issue or latency issue, then we connect with will me and my lead and the other team. Like we connect with the FMS team, the backend team,
Hmm.
and then we sit on and then debug the things why it is taking the too much time for it to get the data from the servers.
So can you tell me some live scenario that you have handled in the past and you resolve that particular challenges you got from the customer?
So, for example, if there is any the scenario, basically, what I can say in this work, like because like, whenever maybe I can tell about my previous town because like my current one, whenever I came in, it is already been developed, so there were not many issues because it is not a customer facing application, right? So it's all with the technician. Like we use the like there is a minimal usage of the app for the technician because like it gives you only the navigation, what exactly where exactly the fiber cuts, those are the things, right? So it's
So
not
you
customer.
have how many years of experience in this Android? Total year of experience?
7 years.
So in this app you are working since when? In this like Fiber
um,
One this.
More than a year.
So before that you was in the which
Yeah, yeah. I was telling, yeah, yeah. I will mention about my
okay.
previous project. Like I was working with a banking client. I work with Citibank.
Hmm.
So there I've
Okay.
been with Citibank for almost like maybe 5 years, I think so. So there we have developed the application from the scratch. So we all deal with the payments, the critical part of
Hmm.
the banking application where you tend to transfer between your Citi accounts and Citi to external account to Citi. So we always there is a thing like we encode a customer with sending the amount to a different person. Okay, when doing
Hmm.
then, so we always give the account number and routing number combination. We have the
Hmm.
manual process where the user has to give uh, the destination account number and the routing number. So based
Okay.
on those two details, we tend to define whether that's a Citi account or a external account within the Citi internal account or an external bank account. So there was a
Hmm.
issue where the same exact account number, routing number was defined with the other bank. So there was a issue that the money has been transferred from his account to a wrong account. So basically, when using the account number, routing number combination, we don't tend to know the exact name of the account. We only have the information like account number and routing number, and then once you do the transfer, you need to check with the other bank whether they received it or the
Hmm.
customer who received it or not. So in that case, when we debugged that, so we were sending as instead of the city echo, we have a parameter to send to the microservice that whether it is once you do the validation, we do the submit call where you click on the transfer button. So in that one of the parameter, it should be says city or other. Okay, so as
Hmm.
the user was intended to do a city between city to city transfer, I accidentally put the parameter as other bank, so it was transferred. Unfortunately, there was the same account number routing number combination with other bank, so the amount got transferred to that wrong account.
Hmm.
Then we basically those things are done by the batch process from our microservice and from the city service point of view, and then we tend to
Hmm.
know that it was sent to wrong bank using the as the parameter was sent as other bank instead of Citibank. So then we came to the situation and analyze the code and debug where exactly is the issue what changes needs to be done. We discuss. One second. There's an Amber Alert. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that is one of the situation where we had a big challenge with the customer.
Okay, so how did you resolve that one?
So basically, when we had the same issue replicated in our lower environments, then we found out
Hmm.
that we are sending the wrong parameters when it is like the parameter where the bank was like city or other, right? So that was the thing where we analyzed the code, debugged it, and then we put a fix and then sent it to the production.
So what fix you have done in that case?
So the parameter when the account number routing number combination was there, we trigger
Hmm.
one of the API which our city handles. It gives us
Hmm.
that whether it's a city account or external bank account.
Okay.
So there was one if else condition where I put not before that. So that was the issue causing that parameter to be sent as that bank.
So how you are managing the session in this your app, mobile app? How you are managing the session?
So for entire login session, we have a separate designated login team. So there will be one session if you're inactive for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, you get one notification your session is getting timed out. So basically,
Hmm.
we don't handle the login session. We have a separate designated login team for that.
You mean to say what do you mean by separate team? But this is the development team, correct? It's part of
Yeah.
the
So
Android development.
we deal with payment stack. Like we only deal
Hmm.
with like once the user logins and then click on the payments and then it goes to the payments and do the payments.
Hmm.
So we have a separate flows where you click on the payment, then our journey starts. We are
So
responsible
no,
from
no, that is fine. Even separate team is there. So my
yeah.
question is, if we want to implement this session management for this particular app, what will be your approach to manage the session and implement this session management?
Session management. So once you log into the application, so you will be having like having one session ID, the
Hmm.
session type, and then based on those session IDs, the session ID is used for entire how many like how much the time you are in that specific login, right? So that entire
Hmm.
login have one session ID, and then if you wanted to have that session ID used like for all the APIs which we send, so we pass one of the session ID because like if it is with the session ID, then we will be able to locate that specific transaction using that session ID on which
So
session it
suppose this app is running in the distributed environment. Okay. In the distributed environment, you know that, correct? This app
yeah.
is running in the distributed. So how you will manage the session? Suppose the same session will be how it will be available in the other nodes. You understand it, correct? My
so,
question. Like
so
one node
yeah
is
so
paying the.
yeah
Hmm.
so whenever you log in to the application, so it takes you we take the device ID
Hmm.
and the device name and device Android version. So these are specific to one device. Like the device ID is the unique one. It cannot have like you cannot have the same device ID for a different Android device. So that Android
Hmm.
device ID is a unique one. Once you click on the login, we take the Android device ID and the device information like phone and the Android versions. Once you log in with those, we have
Hmm.
once you click on the login gives you a unique session ID and a token. We create a token for that specific session.
Hmm.
Based on
Yeah,
that,
that is fine. So
yeah,
so suppose like is my question is like in the distributed environment, okay, where is our app is running in the multiple because of the load. There are different multiple node is running. Okay, so
yeah,
suppose the one node is taking that session, you connected to that node, okay, particular
yeah.
node, and suddenly that node is down. So that request is routed to another node. So how this session will be available to that new node?
So we give the TPS sessions like saying how many sessions can be allocated for this API network.
No,
So
no,
if it,
that is fine.
yeah,
But how this session ID will be available to other node actually? You understand? Like one node is surveying the request, and
yeah,
we we didn't monitor, but in the background is basically this diverted. Some suppose one node is down, automatically is diverted to the another node, and the
yeah.
session is continue because session the user will not basically will not be impacted any. So this will be continue. So in the background, we have implemented this logic. This session will be available to another node. So what will be your approach basically in this case? So that session will be available in the basically globally.
So the session is specifically to one device, right? So it cannot be if you are using a browser, for example, we have the City browser. So once you log
Hmm.
into the City browser, you have a different session IDs, a unique one. For every device,
Hmm.
there is a unique separate device ID, session ID. So, for example, once you log into one session ID and then you're triggering one of the API for any transfer, the transfer
Hmm.
failed. That is what you're talking
Hmm.
about, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, correct.
after once in within the session, if there is any error, how do you see and trigger again? Correct.
Hmm.
So if it is like failure case, and then
Hmm.
we ask the customer to retry the transfer within the same session. So once he
Hmm.
tries, the session ID is the same. Maybe one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
our,
session ID
yeah,
same.
yeah.
No,
So
no, I'm
maybe,
not saying it's a failure. I'm not saying the failure. So this is like case is like that. Suppose in the background, the whatever the API you are calling, okay, that
yeah,
server is providing
down,
that response from the
yeah,
API for that particular API. So
yeah,
that server is having the multiple instance of that particular API. Okay,
correct, correct,
that you know that. So now
yeah,
suppose one API is the one server is responding that particular response, and suddenly that node has gone down. So then that will be diverted to another node. So that another node how will know that okay, this session is already connected to the previous node, and this server is surveying that request, whatever the pending request is from that particular node. So how this information will be available to that node? User might not be impacted, user will not impact. That is why we are having this scalable basically the our approach. Okay, so
yeah,
this user will not be having, but in the background we are basically like if load is more or
yeah,
the system is slow, then automatically we are diverting the load to the another server. So
yeah.
in that particular approach, how we will make sure that so that is my question basically. How basically if you handle this in the distributed environment, so did you design any application in the distributed environment like multiple nodes? So how this session will be managed in that particular case?
So in that particular case, right? So basically, with all the different nodes and how many requests comes into the specific endpoint, right? So basically, we
Hmm.
have the a TPS server where our
Hmm.
microservice deploys all, where the city deploys like the transfer routes through the TPS servers. So we don't handle the APIs. Okay, we only trigger the request to that specific endpoint, and then we get the
Hmm.
response. So
Hmm.
we so what happens on the background, like whether the server is down or it connects to the different node, we don't worry on that. So once we get a specific response,
Hmm.
if it is a positive response or negative response or a timeout response, right? So if it is a
Hmm.
timeout, we get to know it's a timeout error, and then we have a separate code like saying like a -1. For example, the server is down
Hmm.
or server is unavailable, -1 or 500. So then we get to know that the server is unavailable. So if that is the case, what is the information you wanted to display to the user? Like saying like
Hmm.
our system experiencing a technical delay, or we are having technical difficulties, so please retry again later, or this kind of information. We don't specifically give that our servers are down or something. We give a generic
Hmm.
error message to the customer saying that we encode and technical difficulty, can you please try again later? Or yeah, some kind of thing notifies the customer that transfer did not go through because of one of the servers was down.
Okay. So how you are handling these securities? Like when you are transferring the data, okay, through the
Yeah.
API,
Yeah.
how you are making sure that data is secure and it will not be any issue in the security wise. So what are the good things you are doing in the code?
So the retrade, right? So
Not retry. So this is
yeah,
the general security. Like whenever you are calling the API, okay, you are sending some data through API to the
yeah,
server.
yeah.
So how you will make sure that the data is secure while you are sending through API?
So we encrypt the data E2 to E, end-to-end
Mm,
encryption with all the data, whatever the user information inputs the information, right? Entire
mm,
information is encrypted with E2E encryption. We have a encryption within our city network, city app,
mm,
where
mm.
if it is like the for example, the account number is a very P2 level information. We don't want it to be when we send that account number to the our API, right? Before that, we encrypt that account number and then send it to the API as part of a request. We don't send the actual account number. We send the
Mm.
encrypted account number to the API, and then in the API level, they do the decryption of that. Whatever the account number I have sent, they decrypt and then get the actual one, and then they send it to the TPS server to process the transaction.
So how they will decrypt, मतलब you encrypted it, then how this server
So
API will.
we have this within the microservice level, the backend level also we have the same encryption method where they use
Mm.
the same method to decrypt that specific account number.
Which method? That is which method actually? I just want to know which method you are using for encryption and decryption.
We have a common method E2U encryption, E2E end to end. Exactly, I'm not sure it's a common functionality available within the city app.
Okay, so you are using the REST API, correct?
Yeah, we are using the REST APIs. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So REST API we can also use the HTTPS protocol, correct?
Yeah, we are using the HTTPS protocol. Yeah,
So
we
that
use
inbuilt
the
does.
we
Mm,
use the retrofit to connect to our backend, and then we pass the endpoints and then send the request as per your microservice designs, like how the backend designs that API, right? So we design according to that, the request and the response parameters.
So this HTTPS is already in the secure, correct? When you are
Yeah,
using the HTTPS.
yeah.
So then why are you required this encrypted and decrypted in that case?
So because this is all there is a chance for anyone to hack if it is not securely encrypted, right? So we don't
No,
want.
no, no. HTTPS is whatever the request is going through HTTPS, it is encrypted only. So
Okay,
there
we
is.
we have
Hmm,
additional security for, like, we don't do that encryption for all the things. We only do for specific the echo number. These are very encrypted in
hmm,
the echo number, the routing number, right? And the first names, last name. These are very much P2 information.
hmm.
So we only
Okay.
do for that information only. We do the E2 other additional encryption for that specific things.
Okay. Okay, Suman. So I have done. Do you have any questions, Suman?
What are the next steps in the interview process? Like, this is the first time I am being interviewed with the Cognizant. So,
Yeah, this so there will be further round. Depending on this round, actually, there will be further round, and you will get the call from HR for the
okay,
next things. Okay.
sure, yeah, yeah, sounds good, yeah, and yeah, nothing from my end. Like, I wanted to I want you to rate my performance because, like, this I've been like not giving interviews from long time, so I wanted to see,
Yeah.
like, the first one I'm
Okay.
attending
Okay.
after almost a year. Before, like, after Citibank I gave only one or two interviews, so it's been 1.5 years. So I wanted to know how was my
Hmm.
performance this one.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fine. That you will get. Okay. I will give
Okay,
my feedback to this one, and
sure,
depending on
sure.
that, they will basically select for the next round. Okay.
Okay, sounds good, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Raju. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.